friends, today we are going to discuss a very vital part of the cell, and we know that it is the first living part of the cell, that is the cell membrane. So cell membrane is living, it is semi-permeable, it is unit membrane which is present right from the bacteria to human being, clear. And not only that, it is present in the component of the membrane of the organelles is very similar to the cell membrane, so it is called unit membrane. And we know that all the regulation of the material which the regulation of the transport of material with the external environment with the cell is mainly regulated by the cell membrane. So cell membrane regulates all the transport of materials with the cell and the external environment. Clear? So thus we can understand that what important role a cell membrane plays. Clear? So it is the first living membrane of the cell, and now we are going to discuss about the cell membrane, what its structure, how it is help in functioning. Now the proper concept of cell membrane, that is how the structure is given by various scientists. Gradually we came to know the proper concept of cell membrane and how it's functioning. So it was Daniel Davison who provides that according to them it is a sandwich model. That means there are trilamellar layers, that means two protein in between them, there's the lipid layer, just like that of the sandwich with two breads with the with that middle part. Clear? So this is a trilamellar structure with which is given by Daniel and Davison, and later on Robertson gave the concept of unit membrane. That means the membrane structure of the cell membrane is not only limited to the cell membrane only, the membrane bound organelles also have that similar membrane structure that like that of the cell membrane. So it is the membrane concept it was given, unit membrane concept was given by Robertson. But if we go on for the sandwich model, we'll find that there are two protein layers and in between a lipid layer, and lipid we know this is a hydrophobic part. So this could not properly explain all the functions which the cell membrane was performing, and later on Singer and Nicholson provided another model for the cell membrane, which is the fluid mosaic model. Clear? It is the most accepted model of cell membrane nowadays, and we will discuss it vividly what the structure is. So if we go on for the structure of cell membrane, we'll find that there is a phospholipid bilayer. Clear? Now what is phospholipid? If we see the word lipid, clear, a simple lipid, there is a glycerol with three fatty acids. Clear? One glycerol with three fatty acids, that is simple lipid. Now in phospholipid what happens? In phospholipid one of the fatty acids is substituted by a phosphate group. Clear? So phosphate group with glycerol and two fatty acids forms a phospholipid. Now according to the concept clear given by various scientists, it is a phospholipid bilayer. So there is a layer of phospholipid and there is another layer of phospholipid. Now this fatty acid, we know this is the hydrophobic part of the lipid. Clear? So here once one of the fatty acid is being substituted by phosphate group, so now this portion becomes hydrophilic one, but these two fatty acids still remains hydrophobic, that means water repellent, but this is the hydrophilic one. Clear? Which is water loving. So this is called polar head, and this portion is called non-polar tail. So this is the polar head and these are the non-polar tails, and this is the glycerol in between. So now how they are arranged according to these models, these are arranged in such a manner, two layers of phospholipid are there and they are arranged in such a manner that polar heads, that means the phosphate groups, are always present on the external surfaces. Clear? Whether it may be the cytosol part, it may be the external environment, always you can see these phosphate part, that is the polar head part, clear, this hydrophilic region is there in the external surface, and the tail, that is non-polar tails, clear, that is the fatty acid part, is is extended inward, clear, they are extended inward. So this region forms a hydrophobic region, clear, as they contains both the polar non-polar tails of both the phospholipid, and this region forms a hydrophilic part, which as they contains both the polar heads of the phospholipid bilayer. Now, how this phospholipid is attracted, two layers are attracted with each other, remains together. They remains together by weak force of attraction, that is van der Waals force of attraction helps them to remain together. So it is a phospholipid bilayer where the polar heads are towards the outer surface, the non-polar tails are towards the inner surface, forming a hydrophobic region, and there both layers are attracted to each other or remain together by weak force of van der Waals, clear, van der Waals force of attraction let them help them to remain together. And so this is about the lipid bilayer. And now we will go for the proteins. Now if we go on for the proteins, what we will see, that we will see there are two types of proteins. One is the extrinsic protein, clear, which are peripheral proteins, clear, they remain loosely attached to the polar heads. These and other proteins are integral proteins or intrinsic proteins, which are tightly bound with the bilayer, clear, which are tightly bound with the bilayer. It is so tightly bound that you cannot separate this protein until and unless you disrupt the membrane, clear, this bilayer. Until and unless you disrupt this phospholipid bilayer, you cannot take out that protein. So those are called intrinsic or integral protein, integral part of the membrane. And these are called peripheral or extrinsic proteins, which are absolutely loosely attached with the polar heads, and so they are present on the surface. And now certain proteins within these integral proteins acts as a tunnel, clear, acts as a tunnel. These are called transmembrane proteins or clear, tunnel proteins. These are also called glycophorins, clear, transmembrane proteins or tunnel proteins. Now they provide the tunnel where from this hydrophilic substance can move. So they are called tunnel proteins or transmembrane proteins. They extend from one part of the membrane to the other, clear, one end of the membrane to the one side of the membrane to the next, clear. So these are integral proteins, and these are called transmembrane proteins or tunnel proteins. Now, so what about the protein? There are two types of protein. One is the extrinsic protein, which is present only on the surface, which are called peripheral proteins also. They are loosely bound with the polar heads, clear. And another group of proteins is integral protein or intrinsic protein, which are tightly bound with the bilayer. You can't take out that protein without disrupting the structure of the bilayer. And certain of these integral protein forms a tunnel, clear, which are present from one end to other. They forms a tunnel, one side to other. They forms a tunnel through which this hydrophilic substance can move, clear. So these are called transmembrane proteins or tunnel proteins. So if we go on for the structure, we'll find that the continuous layer is formed by the phospholipid bilayer, and these proteins are discontinuously present on this phospholipid bilayer. So it is fluid mosaic model. Why it is called fluid mosaic model? Because if we look from the above, we will find that since the phospholipid is a quasi-fluid substance, clear, and proteins are discontinuously present on the phospholipid, so it appears as a mosaic, have a mosaic pattern. These proteins imparts a mosaic pattern on the ocean of this quasi-fluid substance, phospholipid bilayer. So it is called fluid mosaic model. Now There are another thing, the glycoproteins, clear, these glycoproteins or glycolipids, clear, these are present on the surface, clear, which often helps in cell recognition. These are carbohydrates with proteins or carbohydrates with lipids which are present on the surface, which often helps in cell recognition. The carbohydrate components are generally the hexose, hexamine, clear, fructose, salic acid. There are different cholesterols in between certain regions, cholesterol, the lecithin. These are the lipids, clear, apart from the phospholipid bilayer. So this is the basic structure. Now we will discuss how it functions, helps in functioning of the cell membrane. Now you can see here, this phospholipid bilayer, clear, it allows two types of movement. So this phospholipid bilayer, it allows two types of movement. One is the transition movement, that means the movement in one side only, clear, and in between within the one layer only, and another is the flip-flop movement, where the movement from one layer to other, clear. So there are two types of movement. One is the transition movement within the same layer, and another is the flip-flop movement in between two layers of the bilayer. Now what happens? Now proteins that cannot move, clear. Now what happens? This surface protein helps in transport. Now first of all we will think how these materials are transported. Now which are the materials which are fat soluble, clear, they can easily move through this membrane part, as because this membrane is soluble, clear, it is hydrophobic, and it will allow the, since it is phospholipid bilayer, it will allow the fat soluble or lipid soluble substances, clear, and it also have the movement, so it can allow this part. Now there are certain proteins we have seen which helps in now the parts which cannot move through this region, clear, whether it may be hydrophilic or it may have a certain configuration which is not allowed. In that case, these are the transport proteins. This extrinsic protein generally acts as a transport protein. It binds with that substance, and finally, due to this movement of this phospholipid bilayer, they can be taken from one end to the other, clear. So this helps in transport of various substances from one part of the one end of the cell membrane to the other part of the cell membrane, that is from external to within the cytosol, or from cytosol to external environment. Now there are certain proteins already we have discussed, this transmembrane protein or tunnel proteins. Now they provide a tunnel, clear, they provide a channel through which the hydrophilic substance water can move from one end, because these are extended from one end to other. So they provide a tunnel through which water and other hydrophilic substance can move from one end to the other end of the cell membrane, clear. So one side or to the other side of the cell membrane. So thus it allows the hydrophilic or hydrophobic all substances, clear, in and out of the cell membrane by these various proteins and its the quasi-fluid structure. Now this is about the transport. Now cell membrane obviously helps in transport, clear, but cell membrane has other function also, clear. So what are the other functions? If we see, we will see that cell membranes helps in by informing invagination, it helps in endocytosis. During cell division it forms invaginations, clear. This during secretion also it forms various cellular junctions. So all these can be explained that by the quasi-fluid nature of the cell membrane, clear, it can change, it is quasi-fluid, it is not a very rigid structure. Phospholipid bilayer provides a quasi-fluid nature of the cell membrane, which is not a rigid structure, so they can easily be, this model can easily explain all these functions of the cell membrane as well. So we can see that cell membrane, clear, helps in diffusion, clear, because these especially the fat soluble substance can easily diffuse through cell membrane, because this membrane can have their own movement through this layer. It also have the movement through between two layers, so it can help in diffusion. By this movement they can transport the material from one part to other. They are facilitated diffusion. These surface proteins are there which gets attached to the substances and helps in facilitated diffusion. Clear, this osmosis, there are different channels for the water. Clear, so this osmosis can also happen. Clear, it can also explain osmosis through this membrane. And there are active transport. We know that active transport is the transport where the substances move against the gradient. Clear, and that can also be done through some tunnels. Clear, so these tunnels can help in active transport also, like sodium potassium pump and all. So more or less all the functions of cell membrane can be explained through this fluid mosaic model, which is the most accepted model nowadays. So thank you. Now we can see various modification of cell membrane. Now cell membrane often forms clear microvilli to increase the surface of the cell membrane, where mainly the absorption is related. We form, so I can see the microvilli. Clear, the cell membrane may form interdigitations. Clear, there are interblocking of the finger-like membrane growth. Clear, which are increase the area of contact between the two cells. Clear, for the exchange of material, they forms a finger-like growth. Clear, to increase the surface of contact in between the two cells. So there is called interdigitations. Now next they may form the desmosomes. Clear, the desmosomes, these are the adjacent membranes possess disc-shaped thickening. They have a disc-shaped thickening with number of tonofibrils or tonofilaments and transmembrane fibrils on them. Clear, so these transmembrane fibrils and tonofibrils are there. So all these tonofibrils, and this desmosome function of the spot wells. Clear, so they occur in the epithelial, mainly which are subject to disruption. There they attach the two cells. Clear, so there they act as a spot weld to welding purpose. Now there are terminal bars. These are the terminal bars, you can see. Clear, these are also the desmosomes without tonofibrils, with forming a thick band. Clear, these are the desmosomes like structures without tonofibrils, where we find the thick band like structure. So these are the various modification of the cell membrane for various functioning. So another covering of the cell, clear, which is present, not universal, it is present in certain organisms like algae, fungi, plants, etc., the hair plants. So that is the cell wall. Now cell wall, we know cell wall is permeable. It is non-living part of the cell. It is permeable and it allows more or less, there is no cell membrane regulates everything. Clear, cell membrane regulates all the movement in and outside the cell. It protects the cell. Various have immense function to regulate the cell. But cell wall is mainly for protection. It provides a shape to the cell. It protects it from infection, provides a shape, and from desiccation. So all these are from infection, from desiccation. It protects the cell. So all these are basically, it is a non-living part and it is variable. It is not in constant type that is, it is not always the same type. We have in algae, we have cellulose, glucan, mannan. All these are forming the cell wall. In fungi, we'll find chitin forming the cell wall. In plants, we find that higher plants, we find cellulose along with the pectin, lignin, hemicellulose. All they form the cell wall. So it is a variable composition in variety of organism. So let us have a idea of how cell wall. What are the type of cell wall in the plant? Now, if we see the cell wall formation in the plant, we will see that cell wall formation in the plant starts during the cytokinesis. Cytokinesis, the cell cytoplasm divides by the formation of cell wall. So at first what happens? At first this calcium and magnesium pectate is released by the cells. Clear, calcium and magnesium pectate are released by the cells, clear, of both the newly formed cells, which forms a layer in between the cells. Clear, which forms a layer in between the cells. These forms the cell plate. These that are on rejoin to form the cell plate, and finally it forms the middle lamella. So finally it forms the middle lamella. Next, which acts as a cementing material between the two cells. Now after this middle lamella is formed, clear, then starts the formation of primary cell wall. Now these cells start releasing cellulose, hemicellulose, clear, forming the primary cell wall. Till the plant is in stage of growth, clear, the plant cell is stage of growth, till this cell is in stage of growth, there is only primary cell wall. But once it attains its permanent structure, then the cell, from the cell there is release of pectin, clear, this, and forming the pectin, hemicellulose, and various structures which chemicals which form the secondary cell wall. So there may be another secondary cell wall, and when in certain cells like in xylem and all, sclerenchyma, we find another layer of lignin, clear, pectin, hemicellulose, lignin, they forms the secondary tertiary cell wall. So after attaining the permanent structure, only the cell secondary and tertiary cell walls are formed, but till the cell in stage of growth, we have only the middle lamella and the primary cell wall. Clear? So it will remain flexible till the growth. But it is now, if such a thick layer is formed in between two, then there will be no passage of the materials, clear? So how the cell to cell contact will be there? But it is also there. There are in between the two cell wall, clear, this is the one cell wall, this is the one cell wall, this is the middle lamella, but in between the two cell wall there are certain gaps are present which are called plasmodesmata. Clear, this plasmodesmata in the plants provide the channel for the cell to cell transport.